how they will be increasing.
Yes. And please remember to take notes so we can have some short minutes afterwards. It would be great.
Right. Right. And also keep in mind that we should have our videos and microphones down unless we are speaking.
Jo, ved du kan lige sætte på ham. Lige 2 sekunder. Godt, hej. Det er Søren. Jeg skal have et link.
Hej Søren, har du problemer? Godt, nu skal du høre. Hvad siger du, jeg skal?
Okay, I think we should start now.
Okay, I think we should start now. We are 6 minutes past our starting time. So good morning, good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are. As chair of the working group of the international committees, I'm really happy to welcome you here today to this second webinar in the ICWG series. This webinar is going to be about IRIS and the membership management. I will just start with the quick rules of participation. Also for the panelists here, that to ensure a good connectivity, please turn off your video and mute your microphones while the presentations are going on, and use the chat box to provide comments and questions. I hope you found the background documents. They are available on the International Committees tab on the ICOM member space. And a very important message, the Q&A questions and answers will be taken in separate breakout rooms. And these breakout rooms will have panelists and moderators speaking Spanish, French, and English. So during the presentations, the link to these separate breakout rooms will be provided in the chat. So please keep keep an eye on the chat box towards the end of the presentations. And then you can copy the link to the chat you prefer to use and use this link to enter your breakout room. And we will end the webinar in this presentation in this meeting room. This will happen automatically. Antonio will help us come back together. And at the end of the webinar, please provide some feedback in the survey that will come afterwards. And with these words, I'll just go quickly through the program. We will have presentations by the people from the Secretariat, from the national committees and the international committees. And this is, we expect this to take around 30 minutes. And after that, we go to the breakout rooms. It may take a bit longer as we have so many presentations. So I hope that if we run a bit over time, that you will be able to hang on for 15 extra minutes or so. And while I have this slide open, I will also take the opportunity to say thank you to everybody who has been, who are providing their help and services to attend and present in this webinar. We have people in the specialists from the national committees, from the international committees, from the Secretariat, and also to moderate and help in the Q&A rooms, members of the ICWG. Just very short, a few words about the aim of this webinar. We called it IRIS and Membership Management, knowing that this is a heavy topic to talk about. The aim of this webinar is to improve the current knowledge and understanding of how ICOM manage membership, and in particular for ICOM, for the international committees. But IRIS and membership management encompass the entire or all the committees of ICOM. So that's why we also invited national committees and regional alliances to be part of this, to help everybody try to understand a bit more about this management system. So we hope that we can help to understand how IRIS works in this membership management and its functionalities. And we invited so-called super users, or people who are experienced in working with IRIS, from the ICOM Secretariat, from the national committees and international committees. And and they will share their experiences from their point of view. And as I mentioned, your feedback, questions, and comments during and after this webinar will be crucial in the future constructive dialogue with the ICOM headquarters regarding how to improve and facilitate membership management at all levels in ICOM. We are not giving all the answers. We cannot give all the answers, and we know that you will have a lot of questions. So please bear over with us, and we will do our best to at least collect your questions, and those we cannot respond, we will bring forward and try to respond to them later on. And before giving the word to the first speaker, I will also say special thanks to Antonio Rodriguez, who is chair of ICEE and also hosting and managing all the technicalities on this webinar. The first presenter is Benjamin Grandjean, who is head of the membership department in ICOM, and he will start talking about the IRIS database from Secretariat point of view. Welcome, Benjamin.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? It's okay, Christiana?
Yes, it's been fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Dear Christiane, dear members of the working group, thank you for inviting Sonia and me to present the IRIS database as the membership tool for the Secretariat and more generally for entire organization. So in a few words, I'll give you updated information before giving the floor to Sonia, who will present IRIS in a technical approach. So first of all, on this slide, to illustrate the motivations and goals of the IRIS project, I'll compare the previous database called EDONET and its context to the next one and its general structure. So before 2017, data were manually entered into the EDONET database only by the Secretariat team with data. Christiane, first slide, please. Yes. So the EDONET database only by the Secretariat team with data provided by the different stakeholders of our organization, members, NCs, and ICs. As a result, administrative and financial flows were not harmonized. The consequences were very damaging, too many manual entries and data sources with high risk of errors, incorrect and incomplete data, for example, email addresses, no guarantee of updated data, no visibility and dashboards, and no possibility for the members to consult and update their data. Now, the current database called IRIS, as you know, is a single, common, and shared membership management tool, accessible online by all the members, the national and the international committees, and of course, the Secretariat. Next slide, please, Christiana. Thank you. So the ICOM membership process. All over the year, the ICOM membership process is long and complex, as you know, with further steps and stakeholders. It's a collective work in which everyone takes a part. Here you can see a simplified chain to understand the global processing cycle with IRIS as its heart. So first step, the members send the application forms and then the membership dues to the national committees. Through IRIS, the members can register online, pay their membership dues directly to the bank account of their own national committee, and access and change their personal data. Second step, the national committees collect all the membership applications and dues of their own members and send them in one or more tranches to the Secretariat. The deadline for sending the money and the data is no later than 1st of April. I have already insisted on this deadline. Indeed, it's very important to respect this deadline because there are a lot of institutional consequences for the elections, for the votes, for the international committees. So with IRIS, the national committees are able to follow the membership applications and the annual renewals, transfer the dues from their own bank account to the bank account of the Secretariat, and access and update the data of their members. Third step, the Secretariat processes the data and money sent by all the national committees. It means that IRIS allows the Secretariat to import the data sent by the national committees, have an overview on membership in real time, and access and change the data of the members. Fourth step, finally, at the end of the process, the international committees can get a list of their own members in good standing and to communicate with them. So with IRIS, the ICs can consult and export the data of their members, especially to contact them. So as you can see on this slide, all the steps of the membership process are possible with IRIS, as it's a common and shared membership management tool with online access. Concerning the access, next slide, please. The managers designated by the chair of their own committee can access IRIS with a secure login process upon request from the chair, an online portal in read-only access for ICs, and access to the data of the committee's members. We have already informed that the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR or RGPD in French, had a lot of consequences on our organization and had imposed restrictions on collecting and access to the data. As a result, ICOM has put its privacy policy in compliance with GDPR. Next slide, please, Christiana. Thank you. So the IRIS services and resources available to all the ICs and NCs managers. So to reach the needs of the committees, further services have been implemented by the Secretariat, and we are still working to improve them together with the different users. Concerning information and documentation, the user guide has been updated. A draft version in English is now available, and it will be translated in the 2 other official languages as soon as possible. The user guide is available on the member space, and Sonia will present this user guide after me. Individual training sessions upon request and workshops are proposed regularly by the Secretariat to become more familiar with the tool. Support for functional or technical assistance is also available. You can contact at any time the Secretariat, Sonia, Tito, or me, and the dedicated email address is support@icom.museum. Finally, for legal advice on GDPR, you can also contact the Secretariat, especially the ICs that are not separate legal entities. Next slide, please. Thank you. Quickly, an update on ICs and NCs implementation. All the 32 international committees have an access to IRIS, while there are 62 IRIS licenses for the national committees, which represent 53% of the total number of NCs. Concerning the last login of the managers, you can see that only 19 international committees over the 32 connected IRIS in November, Among the 62 national committees having an IRIS portal, 26 of them connected the database in November, and 11 NC's managers have never connected at all. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer during the Q&A in French, in the French room. Thank you for your attention. And now I give the floor to Sonia for a technical approach. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Benjamin. Hello to everybody. I am also very happy to be here today and to have been invited to this presentation. So, first of all, I will begin by a very quick presentation of IRIS. So, what is IRIS? It's a Salesforce CRM, which is a customer relationship management tool used by ICOM to manage the membership process of its members. Christiane? That's better, thank you. So, so that was the presentation, the brief presentation of IRIS. And now, who can access this tool? The answer is everybody. The Secretariat, the national committees, international committees, and the members can access IRIS. Yes, thank you. Of course, each population has its own access. So in this slide, you see the different accesses to IRIS. I think, yes, it's going to be very quick. I have just 4 minutes. And what each population can do. So the members can at least update their email and their international committee. The national committees can update all the data. The Secretariat can modify, update all the data, but also import Excel files of new members and payments. And the international committees have just reading access to generate, that allows them to generate reports. Thank you. The how-to, the first thing you have to do, if you are a manager, is to find the URL of for managers, type it on a browser, and enter your username and password, and you will arrive at a page like this one. Of course, before being able to do that, you have to be registered in IRIS, and the chair of your committee has to designate you as the manager of the committee. A big an image, sorry, of the tabs you can have on your portal on IRIS. So these tabs have been updated. Now the reports tab has been removed because managers didn't use it. So now you have just 3 tabs. If you are an IC manager, you have the Home tab, the My International Committee tab, and the Dashboards tab. But I think the first 2 tabs would be enough, Home and My International Committee. If you click on My International Committee, you display a page, the page of your committee. And I think that the most important for you, for international committees managers, it is this section where you have different reports that you can generate by just clicking on the icon. Thank you. So this on this slide, you have a quick explanation, presentation of each report. So you have the evolution per year, which displays the evolution of the number of your members through the past 10 years. New this year displays the new members as for ICOM. The new ICOM members who have chosen your international committee as main international committee. This year report displays the members of this current year. The last year report displays the members of the last year. The members who chose your committee, your international committee as main international committee last year. And of course, the penultimate year is displays the members of the penultimate year of your committee. Sorry. Just a big focus, a quick focus on these reports. Last year and the penultimate year reports are displaying your members. They are up to date because normally all the national committees have transferred the fees to the Secretariat. So the members who appear on these reports are members who have not only have chosen your international committee as their main international committee, but members for whom the committee has transferred the fees. So they are members in good standing for ICOM statutes. This is not exactly the case for this year report, because of course some national committees have difficulties to transfer the fees to the Secretariat, so they can have delays, and this year reports displays members who can be members in good standing, but who can also not be in good standing, just because the transfer from their national committee to the Secretariat has not yet been done. But we can see that more in detail maybe in the breakout room. I think that's all. Thank you, Christiane. And of course, you can generate reports, but also you can export them. So you have a button, the export details button, which appears when you generate a report. So you have to click on that button, then click on the export button displayed on this slide. And that's all. The report is downloaded on your computer. Emailing is an important subject. Many members would like to have an emailing tool in IRIS, but unfortunately, IRIS is not an emailing tool. So we recommend MailChimp. We use it at the Secretariat, and I think the license is free if you send less than 2,000 emails per year, or each time. I have to look at that. That's a tool we recommend for emailings. So what we can do with your the export of your report, once you have the Excel file on your computer, you can copy the emails and paste them on Outlook, for example. It works fine. But of course, if you have more than 500, I think it's the limit, 500 members in your committee, the email sent can be seen as spam emails. So use Outlook, but it's better to use a real emailing tool as MailChimp. And of course, if you use Outlook for your emailings, don't forget to turn on the BCC field and paste the emails in that area, in order not to members who will receive the emailing to see the other persons who will receive the email. This is for GDPR reasons, confidentiality. So yes, it's important. I think I finished. Thank you all. It's been a very quick presentation, so do not. I will be in the Spanish breakout room to answer your questions, and I pass the floor to Alan Risbo, I think. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes, or maybe it should be Sharon who introduce. What do you say, Sharon?
Yes, thank you, Alan. I will shortly introduce myself and make this as quickly as short as possible. I'm representing, and Alan also, a national committee, because as national committees, of course, we are the gateway for our members into the international committees. And when IRIS were introduced in 2017, we as a national committee joined fully, understanding the importance for the IC, but of course also for the NCs to have a well-working tool for the membership. I think Alan will agree with me, and probably a lot of you also, that there's still some childhood illnesses in the system that at least we in the National Committee of Denmark are doing whatever we can to help adjust. And Christiane, if you could just take the new slide, next slide. We have engaged as we try to go into this IRIS program as a National Committee 100%. And of course, we had a lot of expectations. And it's not always that these expectations meet reality. And that's, of course, as it must be with the new system and with the new database. So that's fine with us, and we are doing whatever we can to improve and to help with the difficulties. What we see as a very strong thing with IRIS, both in reality and also as a potential, is the real-time possibilities for the membership to adjust information, personal information, like emails, updating their affiliation to international committees. And if they do it through the system, if they do it themselves, then it works in real time. And that's a huge improvement. The problem we see here is that there are, I think, 5 different ways to change international committee. So if our membership use the IRIS system directly online through the logins that you have been told, it works brilliantly, and it works in real time. And so this is a good tool and a new thing that should be rolled out in I think more levels. And a different thing we wanted as a national committee was also that our members could pay within the set deadline and do it through the system directly to our national committee bank account. That is not possible, unfortunately. But I hope that we can find a method to secure this, and so that more and more national committees may get their payments for membership through the IRIS system. That means that you will be in good standing as fast as possible. You will be recognized in the system as being in good standing. And that would make everything much more clear for the NCs and for the ICs. Unfortunately, the payment system which were offered is simply not usable for NCs in the whole world. It's too expensive, and it demands a change into euros and then back to the national currency. So it turned out not to be as we had hoped for. And one last thing that we wanted, and what we had hoped for as a national committee, was that we could actually, and it was introduced like this in the beginning, that we could actually use this as a communication tool. And as Sonia just said, it is not, and fair enough. But we have the experience that we cannot use this method introduced because we have close to 2,000 email addresses to communicate with. But again, this is just a problem that can maybe be resolved, or we'll find a different way. But it means that we have to have 2 different databases, and that's not a good option. Still, we are we're hoping for more and more autonomy between the system and our members, so that things will be more automated and will happen in real time, and people will get their good standing as fast as possible. So I will now leave Alan, the floor to you, and the more concrete way of management within the NC. Alan Risbo is the director of Museumstjenesten in Denmark, and he's managing the membership for the National Committee of Denmark. Thank you, and I'll be in the breakout room for English with Alan later.
Yes, hello, and thank you to you all, and thank you for the invitation. And now Søren has introduced me. I don't have to do that myself, but now I will, in this very short introduction, I will only focus on the process in IRIS when a new member submits an application form. And this will happen via ICOM Denmark's own homepage. So I will ask Christiane to come with some slides. I can see the first one here. Here you can see what the manager in Denmark can see when he or she arrived in IRIS. And here, as you can see, the blue one is ongoing applications, yes, and the green one is new ones. So when the manager sees these green ones, then she can see that she has something to take care of. So next slide. Here, the manager will see that this is a female, and of course we have erased the name because of GDPR. But then, and the next slide, Christiane, and then she can see the email. The next step is that the manager will send an email to this new person. Next slide. This is in Danish, sorry, but this you can see is a letter that tells that how we are going to manage this application, what the next step is, and so on. Next slide, Christian. Yes. And this, now she is ready to create the membership. And going to next slide, Christiane. And she's going to take some, make some decisions. As you can see with the two arrows, she has to decide, is this an existing institution? She can try to look it up. And in this case, in blue, you can see this is our own institution. So it was found in the system. It is, if it is not found, she has to create a new institution. Next slide. And here, now she's going to handle the contact. I have nothing to say here, but next slide. And here, now it's possible to just create this new contact. I hope Sonia in the next room will try to explain further on if it is necessary, but next slide. And then it's necessary to see the year. What year are we talking about? And this is of course next year, 2021. So next slide. Yes. Here, right now, we are again sending an email to the application, the person who has the application form, and telling them that he or she is now accepted as a member in ICOM. Next slide. And as you can see now, now the green, one of the green one is gone, because now the process is done completely. So the thing which is going to happen now is that we are going to, next slide, Katjana, yeah. we are next one again. Yes, as it was told in the beginning, we are collecting all the new application form and sending them in a collected Excel file and sending them to Paris. And the next step is, of course, that Paris will make some plastic card and send them to the manager. And when the payment has been done in Denmark, we will provide the new member with the plastic card, the member card. So all this part works fine in Iris. And as Søren was saying before, that there are, of course, still some minor problems with other things, but this is, in general, it is a good tool to manage all the members. That was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan and Søren. Now, Joan Schneider from the International Committees, ICWG.
Thank you. Can you do the next as well, Christiana? Sometimes as managers of membership in international committees, just click again, Christiana. We ask ourselves, why can't I get information that I need from the IRIS system? And we have to understand right from the start, and that's already been explained, in fact, that the information we get from IRIS is based on the information that, I will give her a she, is holding. Next. So we have a few realities. This has already been mentioned. Reality number one, we have to understand currently, IRIS database does work efficiently for what she has been tasked to do. But very important for international committees is reality number two, because we will never be able to get an absolute, fully up-to-date membership number at a given time during the year. IRIS cannot do this if it is not input into IRIS. Reality three, we can, however, get a very close number of our members through a few reports. And what I've tried to boil down into a few, just in a simple equation. Next. So let's begin with our members. How does a member name get on the IRIS database to become part of my international committee? Well, there are basically three ways. They can be input by membership office in Paris or by the national committee, and sometimes on a selection form, a hard copy selection form. They can be, the international committee can be directly selected by the member through their own member dashboard on the ICOM website, or the member can select the international committee directly through the ICOM, the IRIS member space. Next. So many of you might have already seen this kind of hard copy form. I know a new form is being developed, but after this form is submitted to Paris, the member who has submitted the form either to the National Committee or directly to Paris membership should show up on the database. Next. Another way, the second way that the member becomes part of your database, part of your IC, is that they go to their My Dashboard, and I think you've all seen this, and you click down there on the Join an International Committee. Next. And then this is, many of you who are managing the members in your IC may have already received in the past an email. I call it the email with the blue and white stripes. And this is what you receive if the member updates him or herself or joins your international committee through the dashboard. One point to remember, that's very important here. Just because you've received this email does not mean that the IRIS database is automatically updated. It means that you who received the email must forward it to Paris, you forward it to Marine, and Marine will put it into the database. Okay, next please. The third way that a member can get on your international committee is directly from the IRIS member space. This is the login, okay? And I have down here another email that many of you may have seen that also says this person has joined your international committee. And this is what that email looks like. And as you can see, it comes from membership and it will say Salesforce. It's part of the ICOM Museum Force login. And if you receive this mail, it means that that member automatically goes into the IRIS database. But don't do what I did this week and go immediately to see that member on the IRIS database, because it takes an overnight turnaround. The system resets itself for all new data on an overnight basis. So if you receive this email, you should be able to see that member on your list by the following business day. Next, please. So now we go to the reports. We've already seen this page, but we want to know who are the members of my IC. Next. And we recognize this page as our membership, as the individual membership page or the institutional membership page that we see on the database. Next. And we also have a whole list of what has been paid, what has been archived, what is planned. You can see at the top, if it says paid and 2019, that means that that member is going to show up on last year's list. If it says 2020 and planned, it means that that member is not yet fully paid and will not show up on your list. So if you read that this way. Next, please, Christiana. So what reports are going to help me calculate this? Now, Sonia has already given this. I'm showing you two separate blocks because the labels on the left side of your screen are the labels that are currently used in the IRIS manual that will be updated. So I don't want you to get confused. But on the IRIS database, you will see these reports that you can run. And I've circled the three important reports for trying to calculate or come close to calculating who your current members might be. Next, please. So I've given some equation symbols. And so we have last year, now -1. We have this year, or the reconfirmed this year date of the report, and then we have new members, the new now. Next. So if we put in the ones from that are new this year, the ones from the this year report, and we minus out last year, we will come close to knowing who is currently a member in our IC. This means, however, that we're also going to have to assume that many from last year who don't show up on this year, I tend, the way I look at it, I tend to assume that they are coming along because they just, their payment has not been remitted or updated yet. So we always have an approximate number. Next, please. Okay, just the final really quick recap. We will not have fully current IC membership names and numbers and an absolute number at any point of time during a current year, because that's not the information that IRIS is given. The international committees, I believe, should be part of an active role within the membership department and national committees in assisting members to join and for clearer paths to join for an IC. And that we all should remember that IC should be an integral player in the membership cycle and not simply a receiver of membership processes and information. We can't expect information from IRIS that she doesn't have. We need to look to membership processes for a remedy to help us understand and get an idea of our members. Thank you.
Thank you so very much to Joan, Son, Alan, Sonia, Benjamin for these presentations. I think that Antonio wants to say a few words about how you come into the breakout rooms.
Yes. Thank you, Christian. So for the breakout rooms, we need to close this session first, and then I will open the link for the breakout room. So just, once we close this this session, give me less than a minute to be able to open the other room for all the participants. Okay.
Yes, and so you have shared the. I haven't had time to look at the chat,
Yes.
but I assume
Yes. The
Yeah,
link
there.
is on the chat, and the as well as the description in English, French, and Spanish. So once we close this, then I will go and open the breakout rooms.
Yes. So please now go to the chat and find the link for the breakout rooms. And I'll just give you 2 minutes to do that before closing this. So I'm sure that you all have this link so you can continue to the questions and answers. So I am ending this session now, and see you soon.